As with previous years, I'll be looking at the very best tyres for both cars and SUVs in performance and touring segments. But unlike last year, because not a lot's changed at the very top, I'm going to try and focus a little bit more on the mid-range sector in case you need to save a little bit of money coming out of this COVID-19 disaster. It's also worth noting that in previous years, I've always got tyres delivered to me so I can film with them and talk with them and film sexy B-roll of them. Actually, talk with them. You warm there, little guy. Talk about them to you. But I didn't think it was a necessary risk to put our heroic delivery guys through transporting tyres for a video like this. So you'll have to excuse the B-roll I'm using from previous years and other tests and the fact I'm just sitting here on my own instead of surrounded by tyres. Lastly, throughout this video, I'll be referencing other tests I've done, other videos I've made, previous year's videos, and all of those will be linked in the description with time indexes and numerical references where appropriate. Also, while you're down there, I'd really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button if you're one of the 90+% of people that watch this channel without subscribing. As always, I'm going to start with ultra high performance because they're my favorite. The top 3 brands are still Continental, Goodyear, and Michelin. But it's worth noting, as I tried to explain last year, those 3 brands now have 2 ultra high performance offerings. They have what I'm calling the comfort bias ultra high performance tyre, which is in 17 and 18 inch usually, and then the ultra high performance or maximum performance tyre that's usually 18 or 19 inches and above. For Continental, these 2 tyres are the Continental PremiumContact 6 and the Continental SportContact. For Goodyear, it's the Goodyear Eagle F1 Asymmetric 5 and the new Goodyear Eagle F1 Supersport. And for Michelin, which I'm sure you'll all be aware of, it's the Michelin Pilot Sport 4 and the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. All 6 of those tyres are so close in performances, I'm not going to spend any time explaining to you why you should pick one over the other. Go back and look at the previous year's videos. Look at the Michelin Pilot 4S versus the F1 Supersport video I made recently. Or hit that subscribe button because I'm doing a long-term test of the PremiumContact 6 versus Asymmetric 5 versus Pilot Sport 4 in 18 inches. So it should be answering all your questions either in the past or in the future. But of those 6 tyres and those 3 brands, you can't really go wrong. As with last year, the very top of the mid-range is governed by Hankook, Nokian, Vredstein and Falcon. They are probably the very best mid-range tyres pushing on that premium level of performance, but their prices are kind of creeping up towards the premium sector as well. And in fact, I've actually reclassified Hankook as a premium tyre manufacturer because they fit all the criteria. However, if you want to save a little bit more money, there is a couple of manufacturers that are making very good tyres that are still a step cheaper than the very best of the best in the mid-range sector and still have quite a good balanced performance. The 2 best of that group is Maxxis with the Victor Sport 5 and Nexon with the Enferra Sport. They've got most of the performance with a little bit less price, but you are starting to give up performance in certain areas. Lastly, an honourable mention should go to Zetec with the HP 2000 VFM and GT with the GT Sport S1. Also, Infinity and the EcoMax is also a really well-priced tyre for that price category. But as I've said before, once you start spending that much less money, you're starting to give up performance criteria in other areas. So do some research on sites like Tyre Reviews to see exactly where you're saving money and exactly what performance is being dropped with that cost saving, and then work out for your own personal driving situation what you're happy with fitting. Touring tyres normally come in smaller wheel sizes, have bigger sidewalls, and they're more optimized for comfort, rolling resistance, and noise, and things like that. So they might not be quite as dynamically as fun, but they do have their own set of criteria that they excel in. Unlike the UHP segment, there is a new challenger to the touring tyre segment. This is the Goodyear EfficientGrip Performance 2. I was meant to be testing it a week ago, but obviously traveling to France didn't seem like a good idea at the time, or even a legal idea. So that was scrapped, and it's going to be filmed in June, hopefully, fingers crossed, hit subscribe. There have been 2 tests with the EfficientGrip Performance 2 in, and of those, the TÜV test, who are an independent test body, is the most interesting. TÜV tested the EfficientGrip Performance 2 not only against the predecessor, but against the other very best tyres in this segment, and it proved to have the best wet grip, which isn't always the hardest thing to do, but it had the best wear as well. It had 50% better wear than the EfficientGrip Performance and even 20% better wear than the Michelin, who are normally the wear kings. So if it has 20% better wear than Michelin and the best wet grip, it looks to be a very interesting tyre. So hit that subscribe button to see where my test takes it in June, hopefully we get to record that. So Efficient Grip Performance 2 aside, I'm going to be recommending the same tyres as I did last year, and that is the Michelin Primacy IV, the Continental EcoContact or PremiumContact 6, and don't ask why the PremiumContact 6 falls into both categories. It's just tyres. Hankook Ventus Prime 3 and Nokian Wetproof. All of these have their own slight difference in qualities. I'll link last year's video at the right time index below and go and watch that if you really want to know. As for what I can recommend for the next step down in price, as before, it's the Maxxis Nexon and GT that are really doing the work for bringing their quality up while their price is lagging behind a bit. As with the other brilliant mid-range tyres, as their quality gets established, you can kind of expect their price to get established too. So get in while the kind of balance is still in favour of performance over price, because it won't last forever, sadly. All season tyres, well, up until now, I've only been really recommending one tyre, and that's the Michelin Cross Climate Plus, because it has the best summer performance of all the all-season tyres and still has vastly superior quality in snow and ice compared to a summer tyre. So for the majority of the UK, that's the recommendation, and I'm sticking to that. However, as with the touring tyres, there is a new challenger, and again, it's from Goodyear. It's the Goodyear Vector 4-season Generation 3. Now, the Generation 2 version of this tyre was essentially the best of the rest of the all-season tyres, and was even the preference if you lived in a place where there was a lot of snow and ice, maybe the Scottish Highlands or more extreme parts of Europe, and it was the tyre to have. So now with that tyre being updated, that could be a really good contender, and I haven't yet found out whether they've moved the balance more towards dry and wet and taken away from some snow, or just improved everything. I was meant to know by now, like with the touring tyres, I was meant to have a 10 all-season tyre mega test filmed and finished and published, but so far I've only done the snow and ice handling at the start of the year. Sadly, like the touring test, the warm, dry and wet bits got cancelled. So hit subscribe for that. I think that's now going to come out in September, October, as people start thinking about switching back to winter tyres, and hopefully the world will still be with us by then. SUV tyres, just as efficient as all season to recommend, because most manufacturers now don't segment their SUV tyres from their UHP or touring tyres. It's just available in that size. So if any of the tyres I've mentioned already in this video turn up in your size, and more importantly the load rating, you have to make sure it has the right load rating for your bigger, heavier car, feel free to fit one of those. Of the dedicated SUV tyres, shockingly, the Michelin Pilot Sport SUV is both the newest and looks to be the best in testing. So that would be the one for the car that never goes off-road. If you're looking for off-road tyres, that's outside of the scope of this video, but should come in the future. Again, the Goodyear Eagle F1 Asymmetric 5 looks to be very good on SUV sizes, and the Falcon FK510 SUV also looks to be a little bit cheaper but still have excellent performance. And that's it. Congratulations. If you've got this far, well done. I'm not sure I probably would have watched myself for this long, especially with no props or anything, but thank you very much. As I've been hinting all video, the rest of this year is going to be really exciting. There's going to be a Cup 2R versus Supersport RS versus Trofeo R test that's again being delayed. There's going to be an all-season test, a 16-inch touring test. I'm going to finally build the M3 if we can ever go back to normal life. I'm doing the long-term test of the PremiumContact 6, the Asymmetric 5 and the Pilot Sport 4. There's a lot of content, and I've already filmed a load of amazing winter content, including the all-season on four-wheel drive versus winter tyres on two-wheel drive, with both an American all-season and a European all-season. They're two separate videos. So it should be a really exciting year once we can start rolling again. No pun intended. If you've enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. As always, I will try and answer every comment, so any questions, please ask below. All the links are in the description, I've said 1,000 times, including links to the Tyre Reviews website. So if you want to click through that and read more information, feel free. If you want to leave some reviews on your own tyres and experiences with those, the website's there. It has millions of visitors a month, and you'll be educating other people on your experience. So that's going to be really amazing if you could do that. And as always, safe motoring when we're back allowed to motor. I hope it's soon. I really hope it's soon. Stay healthy, everyone. One comment I get more often than not is, where is Bridgestone, Dunlop and Pirelli when I'm talking about the very best tyres, because they're the other three premium manufacturers. Well, Bridgestone, up until very recently, only had the S001, and that's quite an old tyre, and it either seemed to have wet grip performance or wear performance. The S007 is out, but I haven't actually had much communication from Bridgestone about it, or can get a set to test, so I can't recommend it. Dunlop, Well, they're a sister brand of Goodyear, but they're now a generation behind. So Dunlop's latest UHP tyre is the Sportmax RT2, and that was on par with the Asymmetric 3, but obviously Goodyear have moved things on with the Asymmetric 5 and the F1 Supersport. And Pirelli make very, very, very good tyres, and the P0 is a great tyre in PZ4 form. But personally, I don't quite like the feeling you get from the front axle with the PZ4 in the aftermarket fitments, both the supercar and the comfort version of the tyre. And looking at tests, on average, Pirelli tests a little bit behind the Michelin, Conti and Goodyear tyres. So when you're only recommending the very best, that's why those three aren't included.